Yes, sir. Welcome back. Welcome back to Limitless Crypto. My name is Lorenzo Quad. I'm here to host you today, as always, talking about the cryptocurrency market and potentially look at some beautiful trade setups. Hope you guys had a good weekend. The week starts again. It's time to get back to work. It's time to work on our mindset, on our vision for this year. 2024 should become one of the biggest years of our lives, all right? Let's always put that in mind. Every single Monday, I am thinking 2024 it's going to be the best year of my life. The market is going to go up. We're going to prepare ourselves. We're going to get very good at this specific topic, this specific skill set in order for us to move forward here. So if you agree, then say that you're committed in the chat here. I am committed. We have our core family here in the chat right now. As always, the support is unreal. I truly appreciate it. You guys are, supporting us day in and day out here. It's glad that you guys like the stream, and it's also important for us to keep the engagement going, to keep the chat on fire today. Okay, I want to feel that energy from you guys as well. So it's a win-win for both of us. All right, let's make it happen here. Big shout out to Tim for his first analysis already of the day here in our crypto VIP, and also a beautiful signal that he gave in the VIP signal channel that you can join for free. Very important stuff about render. Is actually, if I remember, something that we talked about on stream, the previous live stream that we had on a Friday, I believe here. So in fact, it seems good that the things are playing out well here. So absolutely amazing. Great work. And again, people are up to, of course, winning. All right. It's amazing to see here that people are actually taking these type of signals for educational purposes only. Formax, congrats. Pavel, TP2 hit, and Frank still going, taking some off. TP2 fast. That's what we like to see. Also a big shout out to Cowboy, Mr. Cowboy, for scalping the markets as it's nothing. All right, we have some really serious good traders here in our community, so it's absolutely great to see that we are growing on a consistent basis, and our core gets just better and better and better and better. Take an example of Tim. All right, in the bear market, through thick and thin, Mr. Tim, Terminator Tim, was grinding his ass off to become better, a better version of himself, a better trader on a day-to-day basis, and look at where he is now. So again, this is all achievable with the right mindset and of course the right foundation. And that foundation, I am personally going to help you with. That's my goal. That's my mission towards you here. Okay, fantastic. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is at a crucial level right now. A major daily level that if we break this, guys, it's game over, okay? It's probably going to be game over in the short term, at least. And maybe not that particularly for Bitcoin, all right? Because Bitcoin is holding up steadily still. It's coming down slightly here. It's going to be nasty for the altcoins. And the main reason why that is because of the fact that if you look right now at what we discussed also in the last stream here, the Bitcoin dominance right now, we said, keep a very close eye on this particular level. It's very important to look at it, because if the dominance goes up here and if Bitcoin comes down, then 1 + 1 is 2 here. Altcoins are gonna get wrecked, okay? So do take that in consideration. Is it game over? It's not game over yet here. We're gonna talk about all the statistics and things that we need to look at, the confluences and everything of what's currently happening in the market here from all angles, so you are at least completely updated. Okay, let me quickly look here in the chat who we have with us today, and yeah, let me know where you're actually watching from. I know there are apparently a lot of like Eastern Europeans watching us. I love Eastern Europe myself personally. However, that's just interesting to see here. Ant is back again. Good to see you, my friend. The Boysha, good to see you too. Incredible. Martel, great to see you as well, my man. Maria, of course, Maria is always supporting the Limitless fam here. It's beautiful. I like what Bitcoin is doing, by the way. Let's talk about that there. Phil Sinclair, good to see you, my friend. Igor, Euros, Legend, Tim, Legend, Rafal, G, amazing. Pavel is here. Alfredo is supporting us as always. Big shout out to Alfredo for creating these amazing thumbnails every single day. So big shout out to Alfredo. He's a G. He's a G. We have Thomas Wolf, another G. Also, another big week ad for crypto. good to see you, my man Thomas. Toxic, Mariana, good to see you. Toxic, my man. Thank you for the support, Humberto, Ricardo. Humberto, nice to see you again, man. Mariana as well, Ricardo, and the weekly close. No, the weekly open, my friend. The weekly open, right? Incredible. Okay, thank you for the support here. Let's talk about Bitcoin here. Okay, very important stuff. So again, guys, the 40,000, you know, you could say between the 14.5 and the 14.2, that's kind of like the danger zone right now. This is like the maker or breaker for Bitcoin at this particular moment here, because if we manage to break below the 40 and we close the daily candle below it, then most likely this is gonna get pretty nasty in the short term here. This could lead into another 10% drop to the downside right here, where I personally believe that if we drop this, that 38,000 is like the next layer with a you know, an in-between stop somewhat around the 39.5 ish. Okay, so yeah, that's truly a make or breaker moment. However, obviously you have to also understand that this automatically will turn also into major support. So it's still a major area of support for now, at least. And what we need to do is we need to wait for further confirmation at this specific moment here. Why? Well, we come down right here, of course, you know, from the lower time frame. So let's just take it to the 5 minute for a second here. Okay. The daily high started up during the open. The open of today's session was at, you know, right here. You can see that we initially came up slightly, and then the whole day we have been kind of selling off here from 41.673. Had a short at around 41.7. I closed it around the 40.7. So I closed it a little bit too early in my opinion here. But again, was a pretty nice trade. We came back down. Eventually, we came back all the way down to the 40.3. Then what we did was we shoot up again to the 41. So this would give probably a lot of guys the confidence that we would come up from there. But what's important to mention is a little trick that I can you know, show you right now. What I tend to use sometimes is I look at the daily high, and if we have a very clear trend from the daily, okay, I go from the swing high to the swing low, and I go towards this particular low here, where we actually are currently bouncing from again. And what we did was we came into that low, okay, and we tapped into the 62%. And if you would zoom out here, just to clarify one more time, if you go back towards the volume profile, which you have also if this range here, because you have a very nice and clean range, you would come roughly around that same level right here, a little bit lower towards the 41.134. It's definitely the case here if you zoom in on the lower time frame. You would come right to the 41.150. So what happened was that was just a double confirmation of major resistance from like that area of supply. You could see already that was kind of where we created the top, the bottom, and then this was our like lower high for now to then create some sort of W formation. So the question right now is, based upon the daily time frame here and on the lower time frames, is this then a key level to look for a potential long still? Because as long as we're trading above it, then obviously there is no need to look for further short continuation as long as we stay above it, of course. But therefore, we are looking right now at the extra confirmation in the market, of course. Like, does it make sense right now to start looking for longs when the sentiment is still very negative and very bearish right now? What are a couple key components there, of course, which are important to mention? The tether dominance is still one of them. We did swipe the highs here, and now we're kind of leaning towards a push to the downside here for the tether dominance. This seems for now pretty decent on the 5 minutes. So you can see that you just literally manipulated the highs here, and therefore after that you start creating lower lows. So internally it seems like a potential recovery play is heading in towards that direction. Now, when looking at the daily time frame, of course, you can see that our major key level for the tether dominance right now, and that's probably the strongest level to look out for. It's a 6.2% right here, due to the fact that this then comes back towards a daily and also a weekly level, which has never been actually retested yet before. So if you're going to come into that low at the 6.2% here, then that's kind of the true maker or breaker moment. And also for Bitcoin, it's the combination of both right here, which is very interesting. Now, what gives me a little bit of a, relief, you could say, a little bit of an extra confirmation, is also, this particular footprint chart. The reason why, I don't want to go too deep into it right now, but at this particular moment, you can see clearly that what it means here is that the delta here turned positive multiple times when we came back towards this level. That means that the difference between buyers and sellers are shifting. It's like the net outcome. So therefore, you can see that sellers were kind of exhausted here. And what it actually means in really, baby terms, you could say, if price comes towards a crucial area of demand or supply, or a horizontal support or resistance, or whatever the case may be, then it's very important to pay very close attention to what the sellers are doing. Because what in essence is happening is that right now, sellers are kind of afraid to take new positions here due to the fact that they know it's a very strong area of support. Buyers at the same time are extremely hesitant as well because of the fact that, we are extremely bearish. The market has been extremely bearish over the last couple of days here. So it's kind of like, when you break, somebody's trust, for example, a friend of yours or whatever the case may be, you should never do that. But anyways, as an example, you break somebody's trust, it takes time for that trust to be built back. And that's what you kind of can see right now. You can see that, the sellers are kind of exhausted at the moment, but at the same time, the buyers are not like, let's go long here. The sentiment is still very uncertain. And the reason why that is, of course, everyone right now is updated about the fact that, the Grayscale, for example, is actually selling their Bitcoin holdings. Okay, and the reason why is because before Grayscale was actually, or GBTC was actually listed on the as an ETF here. Okay, it was just a trust, and that means that you could invest a minimum of $1 million, and you're probably a small player. You can invest a minimum of $1 million. You pay like 1.5% in fees for it to hold. You had not a lot of rights. There are a lot of things that you could do here. You should have, or you had to hold it for a long period of time. But the moment it switched to a spot ETF, it became very easy for people to decide what they want to do with it. And if Grayscale is that expensive, then it's easier to go to BlackRock or to ARK Invest, where the fees are much lower. And that's kind of what you're kind of, seeing right now at the moment, is that a lot of people are moving their funds to the spot ETFs though. However, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And the reason why is because of the fact that if you truly look at the inflow and outflow at the moment, all right, there is around, total of around $2 billion that left Grayscale. Okay, so people took their money out of Grayscale, their Bitcoin, and they're probably putting it into, right now, mainly BlackRock due to their, overall, dominance in the traditional markets, and Fidelity as well here. So BlackRock, for example, has 1.37 billion, and Fidelity right now is holding around 1 billion. Bitwise is holding around $400 million. So, when combining that, you could see that there is still, funny enough, a bigger influx of capital rather than outflux here. So assuming that Grayscale is like the only reason why we're dumping here is from that perspective incorrect. However, it's also about, taking advantage of a certain sentiment, of people's education and understanding, a lot of other reasons why right now Bitcoin could be dropping here due to a lot of uncertainty in the market, a lot of fear in the market, and of course, major key levels on the higher time frame here. So what we need to see is we need to start seeing more volume coming into the markets here, more bullish momentum coming into the markets here, because every single push to the upside here is practically, a slight stop loss hunt in my opinion, before it turns into an actual real, a real trend reversal or something in that manner. The good thing though, again, is the liquidity that's getting built to the upside right now, because this is coming up, pretty significantly. If you go to the weekly here, a bunch of liquidity is getting built up because the sentiment is flipping very bearish here. What you can also see here on the liquidation heat map and this is important for us later today when looking at particular setups in the market, is the fact that not a single true high has been taken out here. So if you look at this high right here, has not been taken out. This high has not been taken out. All that ranging right here, there was not a single liquidity swipe before we came down. We just literally sold off consistently, all the way down back towards the daily level here. So that shows me right now that maybe this is not the end yet. This is not too bearish yet. I mean, we are bearish, but this is not potentially gonna lead into that continuation as we might expect in the very, very short term here. So for that reason, I am still relatively, short-term optimistic. We all know what the weekly time frame is looking like. And we all know that, we are less optimistic on the weekly time frame when understanding, the bigger picture here. So that's important to take in consideration here. There are potential reasons for price to push back up again as well, okay? Most importantly, sellers are right now a little bit exhausted here. You can kind of see it in the charts here. Therefore, the daily low has been taken out at this particular moment, and that could be the ideal moment to start looking at a short-term bounce and a short-term reversal to the upside. So for us as traders, I think we could benefit from this particular recovery slightly that we're seeing right now. And what is very interesting as well is the timing in the market. And I do think that the timing here is absolutely key. And the timing of what I'm talking about specifically is what we're seeing right now happening here. We saw that major sell-off here, that huge, dump of around 2%. I mean, it's nothing crazy, but it happened very quickly. That happened before the New York Stock Exchange opened up here. All right, so before the New York Stock Exchange opened up, we saw that sell-off. After the New York Stock Exchange opened up, we saw that recovery. So do take in consideration that this is also something good. That's a good sign also, right? So combining these factors here, yes, there is a lot of liquidity here. Sellers are exhausted right now. At the same time, we are at a strong daily level of support, and the bullish flip in the short term happened during the New York Stock Exchange open and not before, if that makes sense. So these are all signals to take consideration. The technical standpoint here is, of course, the tether dominance right now also breaking down. So therefore, the question is this enough for us to start coming down here in the very short term, taking us back towards the daily open per definition, which is around 6% here, could easily happen because this is where we had that range here. And again, this could easily lead into the manipulation of this high, a higher low, followed by a new continuation. So consolidation, expansion, retracement, then continuation here for the tether dominance here. Okay, this is all probabilities. All right, we don't have a magic ball. We can try to find and look at every single detail in the market here. I think that's so powerful. There are a lot of tools you can use in crypto which are very essential. However, still, we are no magicians in that matter. We can just only trade what we see here in detail. Okay, so with that in mind here, we went practically to everything that we needed to know for Bitcoin right now. I do like the fact that we're kind of bouncing off here, and again, from a logical pattern recognition or something like that, this is usually a good sign. You create that low, sellers are exhausted, you create a higher low, and you're right now stabilizing here. Okay, the volume is probably also decreasing a little bit at the moment. You can see that right now the volume came up aggressively, is starting to come down a little bit here. I do like this green candle volume as well here, showing us that there are definitely some buyers now willing to get into the market here. But I think it requires just a slightly more or a little bit more time for us to move actually further along here. So in the meantime, guys, if you guys can help us out by smashing up that like button, that would be, a small gesture from your side and a big W for us. Okay, so that would be appreciated here. And, very interesting to talk about the Bitcoin dominance. The fact that we are coming up here, is a very important factor for the next coming days ahead of us here. Okay, that daily and that weekly bounce here is very, very, very important. We came exactly to the level that we were waiting for, and now we are there. And it seems that we're now trying to push up here. So, in my opinion, it's a good thing for the Bitcoin dominance to continue up here in the short term. I think it's healthier because usually what tends to happen is that Bitcoin's dominance tends to increase. And then when the altcoin rally truly starts is when, you know, Bitcoin comes from like new highs and it starts to sell off from there. For now though, this is a very important chart to take consideration. As long as we trade above the 51%, I would just be a little bit more careful, just slightly more careful with, you know, trading altcoin longs specifically. But when you get a short opportunity, short the fuck out of it. That's kind of like the idea here for the altcoins in general when the tide is actually turning here. Okay, now with that said here, you know, for now I think that there are a bunch of altcoins right now that are at key daily levels as well as crucial levels of support here. So there are potentially some really nice opportunities until we get proven otherwise here. But for now, that's definitely not the case yet. The volume is slightly coming down here. Okay, so we're almost there. We're almost at our daily close. We have a couple key levels that I think are still important here, which is of course the value area low one more time, the $41,000, and the daily high, which is at 41.6. Okay, these are kind of the key lower time frame, you know, levels that we have to pay attention to in the next coming hours, or maybe even tomorrow. Okay, hope that makes sense. Now, what we of course want to see here for the Tether dominance is a rejection of this high right now. If we start trending up again, then you know, of course we're going to see at least one more low for Bitcoin and all the altcoins as well. So it's important to understand that when price is around the 6.15%, that's the moment for us to look for, you know, further, you know, continuation to the downside, which is going to be good for us trading whatever we can see here, altcoins, whatever the case may be here, maybe even Bitcoin, who knows. All right, so let's see what the chat is telling us. Thomas says GBTC was available on interactive brokers for a lot of lower buy-in. Cosmos, thank you for the information, Thomas. Thomas says, powerful message in the V3 chat. Martin, it's time for everyone to understand that excuses will keep you at the same place you are today, and it won't help you get anywhere you want to be. I agree completely. This is gonna be one of course, the most you know, important quarters for you right now. It's truly how you're setting up yourself, you know, the framework, the foundations, the habits that you need to have in order to become a better trader or investor. The patience that you need to build, you know, your level of education. It's really time, you know, to step up your game, and don't be that guy that FOMOs into the market, that loses money, and then is going to be angry at the market and not at himself, or, you know, pointing fingers or anything in that matter. I at least know that you guys are not doing that. That's a fact. So good job on you. Good on you. All right. That's what we do in the Limits Trading Academy. Now, let's go into a couple of altcoins here. We're going to go through it a little bit faster today. We're going to go and literally go through whatever we need to go to here, just to you know, be very straightforward. Set up, watch list, boom. We look tomorrow again to see how things are playing out here, as we do always. Okay. You know, we are at a daily level here. There is some hope. There is some light at the end of the tunnel. So unless we are proven otherwise, you know, we can still start looking for long setups right now, in my opinion, or for some short setups a little bit higher. But obviously these short setups right now are done or gone. So it's going to be either tomorrow or potential longs today. That's kind of what I'm thinking about. Now, if we break below the 40.2 on the daily, so not on the lower time frame, because you can always recover. We did it on a Friday. The last minutes, you know, we cut back, butt back up again, you know, followed by a week of consolidation here. You know, right now, a daily closure is what matters the most here. So the daily closure is what's going to lead us into, you know, further continuation to the downside. If we close below here, if we close above here, you know, who knows? But for now, things are looking, you know, decent. I like this reaction. I like the fact that we have been opening up, you know, reasonable during the New York Stock Exchange right now at this specific moment here. So it's very important to see where we're at and if we're going to hold here. Because if we're just going to dump right now, we come down, then all the longs are invalidated in the short term. Then we just have to wait for, you know, a pullback to look for further continuation shorts. And, you know, that is also a scenario here. So let's just play the game. Lower time for confirmations. Who's actively involved in the markets? And that should help us out for today. All right, beautiful. As always, let's see what you guys are willing to share. Do you guys have some setups to look at here? I know that Tim also went through a couple of really clean setups here. The ones that I want to look at were the major ones here that we discussed beforehand, which is the Solana chart. It's the Cardano chart right here, as well as the Matic or Chainlink. I need to know which one it was. I think it was Chainlink. Yeah, the Chainlink chart right here. What's also interesting is what I see right now is that the Dogecoin right now is gaining some dominance here. So I think the Dogecoin can also be interesting when looking at the way we are, currently, getting rejected here at this particular key level. So I'm very curious to see how Dogecoin is looking like as well at the same time here. All right, fantastic. Now help me out here in the chat. Get some setups here. We can go over anything here and we can literally talk about the things that we need to look at. Okay, very, very important. Now, Dogecoin number one. Let's just start with Dogecoin right now. Let's just see what we can scrape from this one right here. That would be good to see. Let's see what we have. Yeah, right. Oh man, amazing, amazing. So the value area low we got rejected from. Okay, fantastic. This was on a Saturday in the weekend. So the value area low was a rejection point right here. That consolidation right here. The expansion. Now we came back towards the value area low at 8.9 cents. We got rejected there pretty heavily as well at this particular moment. Then you come back, and this is always how it goes, guys. One more time here. Go to the hourly chart, okay, and look at the exact same thing here, and that is this particular range. So now you have that consolidation, that manipulation, and then that expansion towards the value area low. But now we're kind of bouncing from the value area high of that initial range. So that's what we talked about in the last stream. We said what we want to do and what we want to pay very close attention to is we want to trade from range to range to range, right? Especially when the overall market is in like a bigger consolidation phase here. You want to trade from range to range. And this was an easy trade right here from the value area low now back towards this range. The question right now, of course, is do we have a lower time frame confirmation that could bring us potentially here towards the upside in the lower time frame. So far on the lower time frame, we're performing very, very well. And we're actually outperforming Bitcoin as well when looking at it and the way we're building this structure right now. So, a rejection of this particular level was not really, a bounce of this level was not really an absolute surprise. But overall, it's good to see that it's respecting these type of levels so much here. Look at it, the value area high, and right here, of course, the value area low. Absolutely crazy. So, this swing low point and this swing high point followed by the swing low point. Came back towards the 50% right here, perfectly to the 50% here. And from the 50%, we created a new higher high. So far, Dogecoin is actually doing very well. And it's actually, in my opinion, now, outperforming a lot of other cryptocurrencies at the moment here. So that's quite interesting to see. Okay. Major resistance. We have some resistance right now sitting at around the 8.463. So when looking at this level, you see that you have already these multiple touch points right now, right? So what we want to do is nothing more than just waiting for prices to come towards these key levels on the lower time frame, the higher time frame. Of course, when you're trading on the lower time frame, you want to be aware of the higher time frame. You want to at least know what the higher time frame is doing, so you can take this to the lower time frames. But for here, you can see that this was a clear bounce that we saw at this level here. So hey, point of interest, right? This is where we bounced from. This is where we bounced from again and again. Every single time we bounced from it, it became a little bit weaker until we broke through that bounce here. So it took 1, 2, 3, the fourth time for it to break below it, to retested it, and boom, this was a really nice clean trade, taking it further down again. So then a confirmation trade from your side could have been also on the lower time frame. I'm just throwing you some opportunities here, from the higher and lower time frames. What's, for example, a rejection, super simple, horizontal support and resistance, right here, 1, 2, 3, breaking it, and then flipping it into resistance right here. And you could say, okay, I'm entering at this horizontal support, but again, it could easily be a fake out, right? So that means that, we're just going for the stop losses below, and then, it drives out, all the buyers that bought here, that thought we had some support there. The stop losses of these buyers were below. So if you come up aggressively, then, you have to take consideration, is this just enough? Was this just a liquidity grab? Taking out the buyer stop losses to then potentially come up higher again. Well, that was not the case. The reason why is because then what happened was that you created a break of this particular low right here. So because we broke this low after that, this would have been then the best possible confirmation to look at for a further continuation down. And what do we say when we look and we zoom out here one more time? We came back from the value area low, so that rejection was accurate right here. The target then, of course, was the next coming range. So that was your TP right here at the value area high. So that's kind of the way you can look at it, also on the lower time frame. When you understand the fact that you're looking at a range, you trade from one range, you look at the next range, you take that trade to the next range on the higher time frame, to then on the lower time frame to look for as many potential setups as possible. So it doesn't have to be that you only look at the higher time frame and you only start looking at trades right there on that higher time frame because your analysis is done on the higher time frame. No, you understand the higher time frame, and on the lower time frame is where you look at small points of interest for the actual execution zones in that manner. Okay, so that's why, for example, that was just an amazing level to take short from. These that you place your short position right there, your stop loss above it right here. Then your stop loss is less than 1%. Okay, and then you could take it down towards the value area high right here, and you had a nice 4-to-1 on your money. If you want to place an aggressive trade, you would have probably placed it above this high right here. But again, that all depends on the way you approach the market. I think this is a much safer trade to look at. Let's be realistic here. That's definitely something to look at. Okay, so now what's important to mention, and this is what I want to get to with the Dogecoin, is the fact that we are now coming back towards that level again. That level where you could have taken a beautiful trade from, we are now back at that zone here. So what happens if you just do the opposite right now, due to the fact that we actually completed our mission by coming to the value area high, creating some sort of like inverted and shoulders as well here, breaking that trend, having that horizontal resistance right now. If you start breaking above that resistance zone, from a structural standpoint, the 50% was an amazing, validation point, you could say. You come down, up, creating a higher high internally. So you look very, very good from that angle. There are now, of course, two trades that you could look for here. And this is on the lower time frame. Number one is, of course, waiting for price to push into this low. Why? Because this is the low that created, this particular high internally. This was also the low where you saw that initial beautiful retracement from at 50%, which is an important level. And, that's just one layer to look for a potential setup. That would be the ideal. If you can get into a trade like this here, then what you can do already, you can already start taking profits when you reaches that zone. But when it breaks it, boom, immediately you are one step ahead. All right. So when people, that are entering, let's say around the highs here, and you break that high and you retested at support, same thing as what you saw here at resistance, and you flip it and you break the high, there is also not a bad thing to start for long, so to enter a trade here. But the difference between entering here and there, let's say, is the fact that you now have a gap of sitting, of roughly around you know, 1.5%. So you're now in it 1.5% or 2% lower than that particular entry. So of course, that's the entry you want to look for due to the fact that it has that, you know, potential confirmation here. But at the same time, if you do manage to break it, then it's still not a bad idea to wait for, you know, that retracement. And if you then do the same thing that we've done here, let's say you look at where it broke through that high, then now you have, for example, a high, you have a low, and then you can target, in my opinion, which is still, in my opinion, quite a realistic approach here, this particular high right here. Okay, this was that initial high that tapped into that major zone. And what we're doing, you know, you could see it as a filtering process. Okay, this has already been filled and completed. This is now the range when that price action took place that has never been tested before. So obviously this now is kind of the smaller version of this one right here. So if you start coming towards this level, then that's kind of a key level to start looking for exits, to start looking for take profits, or just take a majority of profit out of the market and leave a little bit running. That's also an example that you can take consideration when coming back towards the high right here. So these are like two type of entries that I'm looking for Dogecoin right now, due to the fact that, you know, from a fundamental standpoint right now, you have something that's called, and I need to show you guys real quick, X payments, or X payments, you could say. All right, so you understand why actually Dogecoin is gaining that dominance right here. This is started up yesterday. Okay, I need to follow it, by the way. They set it up yesterday. It's just a signal that what you know, Elon Musk is trying to do is he's trying to create the you know, all-in-one platform, right? The all-in-one app. So payments, whatever, everything integrated, from your Uber to the payments, to connect eventually your Tesla to it, on autopilot, to eventually start picking people up there, and actually start earning passive income, you name it. But you also know that Elon Musk is kind of a Dogecoin fan. He brought Dogecoin back to life practically years ago. We all know the hype. And whenever he tweeted something about Doge, or, you know, he secretly tweeted a picture of it, you know, we saw Dogecoin pumping with 50%. So therefore, you know, you could you know, assume that this is what the smart guys right now are trying to do here. You know, X payments, Dogecoin, boom, connect the bridge. and I think that speculation is what you can see reflected in the price here of why it's more dominant than Bitcoin at this particular moment. So for the particular reason, when Bitcoin is still above that major daily level, Dogecoin might be a nice approach to look at as well in regards to that particular dominance. So let's see how this goes and how we are actually holding up here at this particular moment here. Hopefully we stay above this daily level. Otherwise, of course, these type of long setups are invalidated, and it is what it is. From there, we have to then start looking for some type of short opportunities tomorrow again. So that's going to be a different approach. Okay, you cannot force a trade. It's impossible for you to force a trade. When major daily levels gets broken here, don't FOMO into the market. You know, wait for these daily closures right here. You know, and be patient, because the market has now shown you that it broke through a major level. Now it needs to show you that they're actually continuing down here, and that there is enough selling pressure to continue down here as well. All right, so therefore, you know, the short setups that are still into play, you know, were supposed to be taken yesterday or Saturday, if that's the case here. So now, you know, the daily level is very key to hold and to take consideration. For now, it's looking good. It's looking good. So whatever Dogecoin is going to do here, you know, I think these are the two key levels to look for a nice particular, you know, short setup in the market here. Long setup in the market. Sorry, guys. So yeah, keep that and take that in consideration. Okay, beautiful. What else do we have here? Let me know in the chat. Thank you for you guys. Thank you for the chat here. You know, putting in some charts for me to evaluate as well. Keep it up. One more I wanted to look at was, really look at the dominance here. Cardano is interesting here. Okay, look at the dominance factor of Cardano. It is looking like we are holding up better than the other ones here. So Cardano has a 1% dominance in the overall market. Dogecoin at 1.2%. So, you know, Link, as always, is outperforming most of the other ones here. So these are the two that I would like to look at before we go over a couple other ones here at this particular moment. Okay, let's see in the 4 hour. Yeah, so it's similar to Cardano. Cardano held really nicely in this particular low on the hourly time frame, right? So we have, you know, this particular low, right? This is the Cardano low. This is yesterday. Okay, this was yesterday's low. All right, previous daily low here. We came back towards that particular zone to not previous daily low. So my bad, guys, my bad. It was the 7th of January. Anyways, that's the key level that we have to look at. Now, this was the low, this was the high. Now we're trying to hold here. So this is beautiful. This is actually quite nice here. Beautiful V shape. That's a bullish structure. Any retracement into a V shape is usually a good sign. Could lead to continuation. So I do like to look at these type of patterns sometimes. And just in general to see how we actually react. We came also to the 70.5% from the swing low to swing high. So this is also a very good reaction right here, right now. Let's quickly look at the session. The session was here. This was today's start of the day here. Let me quickly highlight so we know exactly what the daily highs are. There we go. Daily highs right here at 50 cents. Do take into consideration. That's an interesting target to look at. This was, of course, the daily low here. Now we came back towards the 70.5% when combining that to the 5 minute. Let's go to the lower time frame even. And we're holding up nicely at every single low. Every single low is holding up, is getting respected right now. So I do like that a lot. We are building that trend. You can see that right now, every single time we tap into the trend, we are getting actually rejected at this particular moment. But internally, we're breaking highs. Bitcoin is now back at support, or is coming very close to support here. The Tether dominance is right now coming back towards the highs. So let me go to the 4 minute real quick. There we go. Yeah, we need to see a clear high getting broken. We need to come back towards the break first of that high. Dogecoin is looking very, very good. Cardano has a little bit more, needs to prove itself slightly more. Okay, we need to break above the 50 here to look for further confirmation. I think that it has to do with the fact that, of course, the 50 cents is, of course, a massive psychological level here. So, longing just from, just below the 50 cents here, seems a little bit, wow. I think it's better to break the 50 cents to flip that into support to look for further continuation. Because there is definitely some upside potential here when looking at the higher time frame. The 52 right here is definitely a really nice and clean target to look at eventually. So yeah, what I want to see is some sort of retracement and then look for that continuation here. So let's start kicking it off with the break of the 50 cents first. Give us like a nice closure there, and any retracement will probably turn into a potential trade setup from here. No confirmations for Cardano yet though at this particular moment. Okay, then the last one I want to check myself is Link, Chainlink. Let's look at Chainlink real quick here. Yeah. All right, we had that rejection point. It's actually not looking that particularly strong right now at the moment here. It's actually looking much weaker than the other ones here. The reason why the Link dominance is probably coming up is because other ones are looking even worse. So that might be the biggest reason here. Overall, Chainlink is definitely not looking That's strong. You're in between these two ranges right now. This is the high that created the low here. Yeah, this is just a retracement into the value area low. Right there. Yeah, this is still looking bad. This is still looking weaker. So Chainlink is actually no way to be found. This is not looking bullish whatsoever here. So shorting right now, it has a little bit of a risk in the short term due to the fact that Bitcoin needs to break this level first, and if you bounce again from it, then of course Link will come up again. So yeah, you have to definitely take that in consideration. What could be interesting though is just looking at how we react for now at the 15.2. So around the 15.2 cents, $50, 15.236. And just then see how we can, target the this particular range right here. So I want to actually come towards this range right there. So that's around 14.6 right here. 14.6, something like that. So that could be a nice trade if it's favorable here. So that means that it's just an entry above your stop loss be above the highs, and you take profit right there. That's a beautiful 3-to-1. So that could be the other side of the story if Bitcoin tends to eventually come down here. But I would be careful with shorting when Bitcoin is reaching these key levels right here. I'll be much more interested in looking for long setups right now at this particular moment. But it does not mean that every single altcoin is just going to go up and going to come down when Bitcoin comes up here, because even when Bitcoin retraced just now, Link didn't do much. All right, Link didn't do much, whereas the other ones are looking a little bit better. Crypto Momo, man, check out Jim Cramer latest tweet. The myth. This guy is turning into a massive meme right now. Let's see what he said. Breaking. Jim Cramer cuts out Tesla from the Max 7 and calls it Super 6. Is there something else? Oh, here we go. Just in, Jim Cramer says it's unlikely that Bitcoin finds its footing. People with short positions seeing this. Yeah. All right. Well, that's definitely the case. So do take into consideration that this win rate is close to 10%, guys. Yes, he has a 10% win rate. If what he actually says is actually what he does. Okay. But, okay. That's pretty funny. We are the key level though. So it's funny and ironic that he's saying it right now. Anyways, thank you for sharing. Let's see what else we have here. A couple of you guys, requestments here. Ricardo. Phantom is around the level you mentioned in some lives ago. Okay. Phantom. All right, let's see what Phantom has to offer here. Ooh, breaker though. Massive break. Key level of support is broken right now. It's below the 3.502. It's actually the same level that we came on a Friday. So we closed above it because Bitcoin recovered. So this could turn into like the best trading opportunities tomorrow if you see a closure below it in like 7 hours from now. That's just what we're waiting for again. Are we going to get bought up again last minute, or are we going to close below it? Again, the daily closure is what matters here. Why? You can see already that this was at the key level. Every single time we came below it, we got bought up here. But if you see then the first daily closure below the 35 cents, it is not a good sign here. It is not a good sign. That means a pullback of around 10% to the downside. So for now, yeah, you could assume that we're just gonna break below here, but I would be careful. because every single time when we break above it or break below it, you get bought up in the last hours. So that's why that closure on the higher time frame is so important. But because you're now below a daily level, which is that 35 cents here, I would also not be looking at longing right now, if that makes sense. Because you long right into daily resistance as well here. You know, that can work once or twice, but 3 or 4 times in a row. You know, every single time it happens, you know, the chance is getting smaller and smaller that you're going to break above it again. So if the market in the short term flips, whatever, yeah, then be careful with that. The confirmation is, in my opinion, the most important. You know the type of entries I'm looking for. Okay, when you see a daily confirmation, we have a gap all the way down, or you know, our target is all the way at like 32 cents here. So let's imagine that you close around, you know, the 34 or the 30, you know. Let's say we close where we close right now. This is actually where we're going to close the daily candle. Then we have the daily candle flip, right? So that means that the next daily candle opens. The key is that you open bullish. Always. You open a daily blue bullish. Why? Because from a daily candle standpoint, you want to create a top wick. Because if you don't have a top wick, you know, it could easily be manipulated. You know, there might be reasons for them to have liquidity there. It might be a manipulative price movement where, you know, we have not filled what we needed to fill or what we needed to take out in the lower time frame. Therefore, the next candle then, you know, takes out the highs again and you're trapped into your short position. So, you know, you want to then create, like, let's say, a top wick. If that top wick comes into that, you know, 35 cent mark, the daily resistance, then it's time to then look for either a trade right away on the lower time frame. That's one layer. But the best thing would be, of course, that flip. So that bearish candle flip formation. So if you then flip the body, the closure of that candle, you wait for that, you know, that next daily candle, the day where you're going to trade that phantom. You're going to wait for that candle to flip bearish. And then the moment it flips the body, you just simply put your stop loss above the wick of that particular, you know, the particular high, whatever the case may be, wherever that candle is. And if you then flip and you look for the continuation, you target, of course, this zone. Even this would be, let's say, a nice 4-to-1 on your money. And if you don't think it can happen in the day, if Bitcoin breaks below that resistance or support, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And the Bitcoin dominance is looking very strong. So, you know, these 10% dumps again in the market are, in my opinion, pretty realistic as well here. So, you know, these daily trades are amazing. You don't have to look at the market too long here. You place your entry, you wait for the flip. You know, it can even be like a stop order, you know, whatever you prefer here. But it's important that you have like a top wick for further continuation to the downside. Once you're in a daily trade, you can also go to the lower time frame. You have now your daily bias and you can start looking at lower time frame setups as well as an extra confirmation. But I do think that this is a very interesting setup. But you have to close below, guys. You have to close a daily candle below the 35 cents right here. Okay. It's a beautiful one if we close below. So do that into consideration. You know, I will share it to you guys later on. But this is very, very nice. Very good. In the meantime, just still looking at Bitcoin as well here. I see that again every single time when we tap into that zone here, sellers are not able to push through here. Okay, the delta is bullish, things are looking good, the volume is still active, the amount of trades are still getting opened up here. So you still can see clearly that sellers are from that level hesitant to push price further to the downside right here. So again, the bias is still the same, short-term bullish momentum here. This could lead into you know, a short-term bounce for some of these setups that we're looking for today here. Dogecoin could still be one of them. Okay, so keep a very close eye on Dogecoin right now because it's entering a very interesting level at this particular moment as well. Okay, let's see what else we have here from you guys. We have Phantom done. We're gonna do a couple more, guys. Not gonna be too long on stream today, but let's just speed it up a little bit. Let's do that. Okay. Arbitrum. Check. Let's do that. ETC potential long. Ethereum Classic. Thomas says VPP poker. Okay, let's start with Arbitrum then. Let's do it. This is actually a little bit of a confirmation where I maybe would love to see, if you get that follow through here, where I would love to see some long setups for Bitcoin as well. Just because of the way we're moving here. It's looking better. It's looking interesting. Yeah, let's do Arbitrum real quick. There we go. Martol says Arbitrum, we discussed it with Terminator Tim. I saw it. So the weekly support is right there. Thank you for sharing. First thing I would notice right away is that weekly support as well. This high is right now getting tested. So we are at crucial support for Arbitrum. If you break below this level, you're most likely going to see a significant push to the downside. If we can hold above this level, fantastic. Next week's candle could be turning out much better. But it's also about the weekly closure here due to the fact that it is a weekly level to look at. So therefore the 1.7 key level. We're right now at that exact level right here. On the lower time frame, that's also great. Right now, we are there. Okay. So we are looking like we want to potentially look for a follow through here due to the fact that we are at that weekly level of support here. You always want to look at, how do we react from these type of levels here. This is pretty decent. This is pretty decent so far. All right, the way we're setting up is not bad at all. It's not bad at all. This could turn into a nice continuation. What I can tell you already now is the level that we need to break is this one. Because this is kind of a breaker block right here. And what we call a breaker block, we call this a breaker block when, what tends to happen is that you create a low. And this is like the candle that created that initial low. Then what happened was we swiped the liquidity above before an immediate reversal. So it's kind of like an expansion, right? Manipulation and an immediate reversal. That could turn and flip into resistance. And that's what you're seeing right now. So you see that this is breaker block right here. This is an area of supply or demand that turned into an area of supply. You could also see it like that. Okay. This is now where we're holding below. So before we start looking at longs and FOMOing into the market, because we're at a weekly level, let Arbitrum prove to you that it's worth it. And the way to do that is by breaking at least a breaker and by flipping this in support. And if you can flip this in support, sky's the limit. And we can start looking at, further continuation from there. So that could turn into a really nice and clean setup. That all depends on, the actual move. Stop loss below the lows, and you target, of course, the rest liquidity that's built above the people that went short. So the sellers came in after they took out the majority of stop losses below from previous sellers. It induced buyers to step into the market. These buyers got trapped or maybe even liquidated. I think liquidated due to the fact that we're below that weekly level. And now the goal is to bring back price towards the people that went short right there. And that's why I think that this is like a key level to look for. So the question is, are we able to then flip this into support and look for that continuation towards that high? If that's the case, you have a really nice 5-to-1 setup, potential trade right here. But it's important to see when price breaks above it, how are we standing above it? Is it strong enough for us to hold here? And you can kind of see that with, the lower time frame, confirmation where you're balancing out, where you're not really moving, but you're holding above it. And it's starting to look, better. The volume is coming down. Like all these things are good signals for it to look for further continuation to the upside here. So in this case, a breaker block shift, manipulation shift, taking the weekly support in consideration as well. Hope that answers your question for Arbitrum. Quick. ETC. We talked about Ethereum Classic. I think I haven't looked at it for a while. I don't know. We looked at so many, but not Classic, correct? At least I do not remember. Okay, we did. Apparently we did. Okay, so okay, same thing. Crucial daily support is at 22.742. Why? Well, we had that major resistance before. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Couldn't break above it. We shoot above it. Retracing. So again, 1 hour chart. We now have our daily level. That's like our key level to take in consideration. Let's see what's happening here. All right. Okay, so... All right, yeah, this is on the 15-minute. Why? Because you could see that this was the low. That created a lower low and a higher high. It created that liquidity. So the people that went long here, they were looking at a higher low formation. And what happened was, for example, the low was set here. The high was built there. The retracement was a great moment for people to enter. We couldn't break the previous high here. Why? Local resistance, okay? Lower time frame. So when we failed to break above it, you know, it started to build more and more liquidity to the downside here. This is when it broke down, and this is where I think shorters came back to the market and they completely targeted the lows. So this is where shorters are now taking profits due to the fact that we have now filled up the gap. Majority of stop losses from the longers were taken out. The people that longed too early didn't wait for that extra confirmation, which have a kind of gap because it is a nice setup. Not every trade can go into your favor here, but you know, that was that breaker moment. Now you can kind of see that we're holding below that low still. So what's interesting to me is that this high and this high are equal highs. Bitcoin is starting to recover a little bit, slightly. Tether dominance is still below that zone. Solid. So this is like a high where we have a bunch of stop losses right now. We're always thinking about who's in control here. Are buyers in control or sellers in control? And if so, if sellers are in control, where are most of their stop losses built up? So most people that entered probably on that break. Logical stop losses are there and are above there. So if we're now coming to the lows after that gap fill and we're creating that bullish formation, then that's obviously going to be our target right here. We want to drive price towards these stop losses here to come back towards that key level of rejection, which we saw previously, to see if we can finally break it, or, you know, if this is the moment where we flip this into support. If you can flip that into support, boom, continuation right away. That's what we're not currently seeing happening yet. We now look at the lower time frame to see, okay, how can we act towards that target? What are like the possibilities for us to take a trade towards that high, which is at 25.4? Well, first thing you need to do is you need to break the high that created the internal low. So this was the low. This was the high. Lower low, higher high. Let's break the high first. All right, let's break the high first. Right here, 24.121. When the high is broken, Fibonacci. Easy. All right. Wait for pullback into like a key level. And I think this is where the majority of our best setups will occur here. And you know, the beautiful thing about this one is here, because the target is so clear. We are above the daily level. We're looking good. We have been taking out the majority of people that were long. Bitcoin is starting to look better. I mean, everything can change at any given moment. For now, it's still looking decent right here. Okay, buyers are still, you know, in control right now. We're seeing that shift on the lower time frame happening. So that's all good. So what you want to see is a higher high and a higher low. So higher high, higher low. And if you fail once, whatever. Okay? If you apply good risk management, nothing's gonna happen to you. Try it a couple times, okay? Higher high, higher low. Go for the next low. Go for the next low. You know, whatever the case may be. But at least understand that when you look at the Fibonacci, right? The swing low to swing high to whatever high you break, wherever you go to, you want to at least look for setups and longs above the 50%, below the 50%. Not above, right? Below the 50%. Right? You wanna buy it and accumulate for a discount, sell it for a premium. That's why anything below is fine. If it's here and you get stopped out, whatever. Try again right here. Okay? So if you risk 1% and you're not 100% sure, risk 0.5% and risk again 0.5% where you're lower. If you break this, invalidation. That's it. Invalidation, you're stopped out, you go to the next trade. But if you break this, you probably have a reason for that invalidation. And we might experience some sort of market shift as well. So I hope that makes sense for Ethereum Classic. Yeah. I mean, it's looking great. Clear targets, looking beautiful. Looks like a nice setup. We just need to be a little bit more patient for that confirmation. That's what it is here. Mark Dutchess, gotta love the Dutchies. Zeker, zeker, zeker. Mav says, or Omid says, Mav USDT. Lorenzo is dumber using Atos. Atos. It's actually the footprint. We had Thomas, VPP Poker. We can look at it real quick. Just from a Degen standpoint. Crucial support at 44592. Anything below could come down with... no, that could be very bad. That could be a 50% sell-off. So you need to... you need to hold above it, man. Very important that you hold above this high. Or you can accumulate it for, you know, a 45%, you know, retracement. So if you have that 45% retracement here, you could get it for a discount significantly if you believe in the project. I like the project a lot. I'm a big fan of the gambling, crypto gambling kind of, you could say. I think it's going to be a big narrative in the market. I could think it's definitely something to pay very close attention to. Gaming, gambling, you name it. I think these things are made for each other. Then I think the gambling market is so ridiculously small, so undervalued for now, that this is just going to be a matter of time. But yeah, based upon this, it's not looking strong. I would not buy here. I would wait for price to push back towards this level. Bitcoin dominance is looking strong. There are many different reasons why. I think we might see one more flush out here. That's definitely interesting to look at. Okay, let's do two more. PHB. Rejection at 1.3 a couple weeks ago. Came down almost 60%. That is pretty heavy. A pretty heavy retracement. We are seeing signs of a recovery though. We are seeing signs of recovery. This is looking better. So this is the value area low. What a surprise, right? This is why measuring volume is so key in trading, and crypto especially, because it's so volume orientated. The whole market, especially when there is a lack of volume, it's even better, because the volume is then the most interesting part. And that's why these levels are so good to look at. Highly recommend to dive into the fixed range volume profile. A lot of videos on it on YouTube, and why it's so such a powerful tool. And it's actually the closest you can get to the level 2 data on the level 1, the candlestick charts and everything like that here. So okay, Low, high, higher, low, looking all really solid. So really nice confirmation so far. You tapped into these levels. You are kind of compressing, right? We're building that like trend, that rejection. It's on the higher time frame, of course. So this smells like we wanna start looking for a breakout soon. You can see it right here, that this could flip into, you know, into a breakout. I do like the fact that we have come down already 60% here. And I also like that it was, again, the same thing. Consolidation, expansion, the high getting created. You then come down 60% while you're building that liquidity to the upside. So it's not just like mass aggression. It's very slow and steady. And this usually leads into the following. So what tends to happen with these type of formations is you break out to the upside and you get rejected again. Or you break above and you continue. But it's one of these particular setups right here where it builds that liquidity to break out and it starts to come down here. So yeah, that's on the 4 hour though. On the lower time frame, yeah, I do like on the 30 minute, for example, you can see that this is kind of that zone that we're holding on as well. So it is a nice level to look at. I think it's the point of control as well at the same time, if I'm correct. So yeah, I would just take this to the lower time frame. I mean, this expansion is really nice, really, really clean. So that breakdown could still occur, of course. And this rejection right there. I mean, this is just for the lower time frame. This is just, you know, scalping setups, like lower time frame setups here. If you start trending up, all right? If we start trending up above this trend right here, simply like this, and you're getting into that zone, and you break it, you bet we're gonna come down. You bet we're gonna come down here. If price comes down, and it breaks it already, this is of course an interesting low to look at on the, you know, on the 15 minute. Coming back all the way to that low. Because you have then multiple confluences to look at right here. And if you then react, you know, nicely from it, then you might have like a nice long opportunity as well, back towards still that same exact level, due to the fact that we have that gap sitting around, you know, between the 88 and between the 87. So that's why that's a great target to look at. And your stop is going to be like right below it. So the risk reward is amazing. So that's looking quite good. So I would just scalp this, you know, treat it like a scalp where you just wait for price to tap in either zone. So either up, if it breaks straight down, or down, wait for confirmation up. That's it. Both of them very, very clean. I'm actually kind of curious to see how this goes, but yeah, no, I actually like to see how this all goes. Why? Because at the same time, the value area low is there, and the point of control is there. So 2 key levels, and if you start coming up only, you know how much liquidity you're gonna start building below here with a massive gap here. Man, that's the sweet spot scenario for short opportunity in the market right here. Okay. So in my opinion, absolutely fantastic. Yeah, that's it. Can you trade crypto with SMC? 100%. SMC is liquidity driven in many cases, many scenarios. Therefore, I do believe that anything that's liquidity driven in the markets is tradable utilizing SMC. SMC is nothing more than understanding market structure, understanding the highs and lows, understanding the liquidity. Who's trapped? Who's in control of the market here? Is it supply? Is it demand? Is it sellers? Is it buyers? You know, there are a lot of different figures, a lot of different things that you can take consideration when utilizing SMC here. I do believe that combining SMC with some standard, tools like the volume profiles is absolutely key. Some horizontal support and resistance, some trend lines. Like, try to gain as many confluences together as possible. The only thing that you want to do when being an SMC trader is to understand your key levels and understand them very well. That's the only advice I could give you, as there are many things I can teach you here. But when applying SMC to your trading on a day-to-day basis here, just think about, what are my key levels? That's it. People tend to be very quick with looking for levels in the market. Quick, a higher high, higher low, boom, setup. What are your key levels? When understanding your key levels, you're definitely one step ahead already. Okay, I'm going to do one more here, and that's going to be Ethereum here. I just want to see how Ethereum is evolving, because the last one that I would like to discuss here is the fact that Ethereum right now is getting to this first major area of support here. Okay, 2368 is where we're currently at. 2361 is that major daily support. So we are currently there. Bitcoin right now is currently at daily support as well. So it's a true maker or breaker for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, for practically all the other altcoins in the market right here. But most importantly, Ethereum right here is right now sitting at around 2360, which is an amazing level to look for. Okay, if you get this confirmation on the lower time frame, guys, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm going to take a big long position on Ethereum. Still a lot of conspiracy about Ethereum, spot ETF, you name it, tokenization, all that stuff here that we discussed on previous streams already. What needs to happen is we need to break this high. All right, so one more time. The 2397 needs to be broken. If we manage to break this, long. Big long for myself right here. Stop loss below the lows. Okay, if we start coming below, and we're closing a daily low below, let's say daily candle below the 2361. Of course, I'm looking and leaning into further continuation to the downside here, but most likely Bitcoin will be also below or trading below the $40,000 here. So yeah, Ethereum is definitely something I do not want to neglect with you guys, because I think that if you can get in, it might be an amazing level. Why this high? Again, right? Same old story. We always look at the same configurations from the higher to lower time frame. This was the last internal high. This was the last internal low. You want to utilize that, and you want to create first a new higher high before looking for a new higher low. And that's kind of the market shift we're looking for. And that could turn into the best possible setups. But of course, major liquidity getting built up here, or haven't been building up here over the last couple of days already. Ever since Monday, or ever since Tuesday, sorry, we topped that high, and we have been building up, a lot of short pressure to the downside. A lot of stop loss above these levels here. Great targets are, for example, 2500. Right, you can see clearly that this is a key level. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5. And again, if you start coming internally, that's your target right there. 2500, great target to look at. Keep a very close eye on it on the lower time frame. Could be turning into a really nice position as well. All right, guys. All right, last one then. Mamos or Solana. Let's do it then real quick. Let's go. So, all right, daily. Yeah, break below. Same thing as we saw with Phantom right here. We talked about this previously already. That is a key breaker. We came to it Friday again. Last minute we closed above it here. So I would stay out of the market right now until we have the daily confirmation. Daily confirmation lead into the same exact opportunity. This is your next target, $75 for Solana. It's a serious dump. That's a 12% move to the downside right here, with a little stop at around 82. Okay, so again, daily confirmation is that closure. Next candle, you want to open bullish, you want to create a top wick, you want to then look for, like we said before, that flip. You want to then enter on that flip, stop loss above the high. You only have to look at the daily time frame, nothing else. and you target, of course, that level, 3 to 1 on your money. From there, you can start looking at lower time frame setups and to see if you can scale into your position as well here. But again, this is going to get retested. If it gets retested and it gets rejected, then that flip is, of course, your ideal position, highest probability setup. You can also look at a short setup from this where you previously turned, support into resistance. That could also be a nice setup, but the question then is, where are you going to put your stop loss? You have to be on the lower time frame for that. I cannot give you that right now at the moment because we don't have that price action yet. So it's really up to the closure of today to decide if this is going to make sense. And if we push up, if it makes more sense to enter on the higher time frame or on the lower time frame. Either way, it's still going to be a day trade. It's still going to be a minimum of 3 to 1 on your money. So if you risk $100, you make $300 or whatever the case may be. It's still looking very, very good here. Overall, the daily break is not looking very good for Solana. All right. Hope that makes sense here. So a quick sum up. One more time. Okay. Major daily level is right now holding up here. I do like what we're seeing here. I'm quite neutral for now. But again, we are operating above the 40.3. As long as we stay above it here, there's nothing really too crazy yet to worry about. But again, there is not that much selling pressure for now at this level. Sellers are quite exhausted here. I think a lot of them took profits just to be sure. That's what we're kind of seeing right now. If we start breaking it and you close below it, of course, major shift for Bitcoin to the downside right here. Okay, lower time frame still looks decent. The volume is just coming down here. And again, the Tether dominance is right now back at this range. If you start breaking this trend that we're building up right here, very good sign, very bullish on the lower time frame for a lot of setups. Bitcoin dominance is strong. So if we flip bearish, altcoins getting wrecked, high likelihood. So the best short opportunities are altcoins. It will not be Bitcoin. All right, by far. Major key level of dominance right now at 51%. Starting to push up here. And it's bye-bye in the short term at least for the altcoins. But there is still light at the end of the tunnel. Like I said here, a lot of liquidity built up above. So we will find out and see how we will survive. All right, I have to go, guys. Cannot be as long as usual here. I hope you guys liked, regardless, today's session and the amount of setups and information that we have been able to provide to you today. We're going to be back tomorrow. Okay, looking forward to see you then. Keep it up. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the love. Make sure you smash the like button. It's a really small gesture from your side, and it means a lot for us, on this new channel right here. Truly. Thank you very much. Looking forward to see you soon. And have an amazing day. You know what to look out for. All right. Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.